students, welcome back again. This is section 4.4, example 4, and this time we're going to find slope from an equation. So remember what we've been working on, we've learned the slope formula. That's what this particular section is all about. So I'm going to bore you to tears with this again. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I want you writing that formula as many times as you can every time you do a problem until you get this formula memorized. And then not only memorize it for this section in our book, but we need to remember this formula all the way to the end of the year when we start getting ready for the state test. Okay, let's get started. We're going to find the slope of the line described by the equation 6x minus 5y equals 30. Do you remember what form this line is in? Okay, if you said standard form, you are absolutely correct. Remember what standard form is. ax plus by equals c. And that's exactly what 6x minus 5y, that's the format that it's placed in right now. Very good. Now, in order to use the slope formula, you need to know 2 points. You're probably thinking to yourself, I don't see 2 points. How am I going to use the slope formula? Well, I'm going to show you. In standard form, you can easily calculate 2 points. And do you remember what we did just a few sections ago when numbers are, or when lines are in standard form, what 2 specific points you could calculate? If you say x and y intercepts, you're exactly right. That's what we're going to find. So remember with me, recall, we're going to use the cover-up method and find our x-intercept and our y-intercept. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do. Let's find the x-intercepts. That means I'm going to cover up the y, leaving me with 6x equals 30. Divide each side by 6, and x equals 5. So if you have an x-intercept, the name of that point is 5, 0. Okay? Now let's rewrite our standard form again. And this time we want to find the x, so I'm going to cover up, or excuse me, I want to find the y, so cover up the x. Do you see negative 5y equals 30? Divide each side by negative 5, and we have y is equal to negative 6. So the name of this point is 0, negative 6. Okay, so now do you see how I can find 2 points from standard form? And technically what I found were the x and y intercepts. Wonderful. We're going to take those 2 points now. We're going to take 0, negative 6, and we're going to take 5, 0, and we're going to plug them into the slope formula. So I'm just going to call this first one x1, y1, and this second one x2, y2. Okay? And I'm going to plug into that basic formula again, and we're going to find that slope of this particular equation. Okay, so y sub 2 is 0 minus y sub 1 is negative 6 over x sub 2 is 5 minus x sub 1, which is 0. So what it looks like to me is I've got 0 minus a negative 6. Remember that 0 plus 6, that is 6 over 5 minus 0, which is 5. So the slope of this line is positive 6/5. It should lean to the right. If you were to graph it, we're not going to graph it, but if you were going to graph it, this line would lean to the right with a slope of 6/5. Now, hopefully I made perfect sense on that. If you will flip back in your notes to the very end, on the bottom here, you will see this equation, find the slope of the line described by 2x plus 3y equals 12. Why don't you try that one on your notes and see what you can do. Remember, step 1, find the x-intercept and the y-intercept using the cover-up method. Then step 2, take both of those intercepts and plug them into the slope formula, and then you're going to have your slope. Okay, good luck with that. Thank you for listening.